video and all other videos on this channel are for entertainment purposes only. The content of this video and all other videos on this channel are the opinions of the creator only and do not constitute legal, trading, investment, or financial advice of any kind. Investing carries a high level of risk and the majority of retail clients lose money. Do not invest any capital unless you understand the risks and you are prepared to lose it all. Alright, hello and welcome to Camel Finance. I'm your boy, Camel, and welcome to the week. Welcome to Monday. I have a funny feeling this month, as it closes out and heads into May, is going to yield some spectacular upside in the price of Bitcoin. We've been looking at this whole global M2 offset thing. As anybody that follows me knows, I don't really think it carries the weight most people think it does. But this whole thing over the weekend got blown up into a total meme, okay? And that was because we have just seen the chart start to explode to the upside like this, leading a bunch of people to say that the big print is here, M2 is exploding, and Bitcoin will surely be at 200 plus K within the next month or so. But the reality is, this might even just be a data error in the Indian currency markets. So if you know, you know. If you don't know and you think this is what comes next because Bitcoin simply follows M2, I really don't know what to tell you. Apart from the supermarket giant Spar, we got plenty of these in the UK. It's going to start accepting Bitcoin all over Switzerland. So only a matter of time, I guess, before it goes worldwide. Happy to see stuff like this. And also, cast your minds back about 6 months ago. I made several videos talking about how I expected to see, as we approach the top, higher and higher targets. Back then, most people were saying maybe we can get to 150k if we're super lucky. And I was saying as we start to get later and later in the cycle, as we start to get closer and closer to that kind of 150k, you'll see people move the goalposts and it'll be 600k and 700 and a million. And it's never going to enter a bear market and no more 4-year cycles, right? And I think this is what we're starting to see now with this whopping 745k target. And of course, all of this at a time in which Bitcoin's current market structure is looking pretty healthy. So far, holding up in this range, chopping around. If we can get a breakout above 95k here, it's probably going to be at new all-time highs in absolutely no time. And then once again, all of this will indeed have been that lockout rally. Under the hood, a lot of the driver for this, I believe personally, is the number of new whales stepping into the market. This is, of course, entities that hold 1,000 Bitcoin or more. We can also see this in the accumulator address demand, which is spiking again to new highs for this cycle. And all of this against something that is totally unprecedented in the Bitcoin market. For the first time in history, we have the exchange reserves trending down like this during a bull run. There simply is not enough Bitcoin to go around, especially now that the guys with the deep pockets have showed up to this market. Meanwhile, money flow index looks to be pointing towards brand new all-time highs in the not too distant future as well. Notice the setup here. Money flow index makes a low in line with the bear market low. We then get this push up and a hidden divergence, which corresponds to all of this. And then finally, we get the final blow off top move into the top for Bitcoin. We get the whole thing repeat again at the lows, hidden bullish divergence, blow off top. Okay, all of that corresponds with this. And once again, we were able to use this to spot the lows. We're setting up for that hidden bullish divergence. Okay, lower lows on the money flow index with higher lows on the price right before the final squeeze into the top, and then the whole thing can go and head down towards that bear market low in the 4-year cycle low in 2026. So again, just looking at this tells us to keep an open mind about higher prices walking forward. This indicator right here is the Bitcoin energy value, and it currently sits at around 130k. Notice as well, something missing this cycle is we have not blasted through it into a top. We've not blasted through it into a top. So far, trading comfortably below it, pushing up against it, getting ready to blast through, in my humble opinion, again, tells us to keep an open mind about higher prices. And historically, watching the Tether dominance, USDT stablecoin dominance, move to the downside has been a good indication that the move up in Bitcoin is for real. It makes perfect sense if you think about it. People take their stablecoins and they spend them. They spend them into Bitcoin. It drives the price up, okay? Every time we get a top here, we get a pump or a pop in Bitcoin, top here, pop in Bitcoin, top here. And right now, all the familiar symptoms and hallmarks of a top looking for new lows perhaps as we make that final push to the upside. Again, as far as I can tell, all signs lead to the most probabilistic outcome being higher highs in this market. And remember, all of this against a backdrop of the S&P 500, the stock market in general, setting up a monthly candle close with just a couple of days left in this monthly candle now. As it stands, we are going to put in a massive bullish hammer reversal candle, which would be a subtle tell from the market that there might just be a chance at getting a squeeze to new highs. It's certainly not the base case, as I keep saying over and over again. For those of you that watch the weekend's deep dive, you know what the base case is. If you haven't seen that, then go back and watch Saturday's video. But undeniably, this kind of heavy bottom side wick is far more encouraging and far more bullish than if this month had closed all the way down at the bottom with no wick. So far, I would say so good. I think we are setting up here for some very, very profitable trade setups over the coming weeks, maybe even months into, I don't know, mid to late this year. And remember, as of the last week's close, we actually closed breakouts in the stock market. So it's going to be super interesting to see if we can get some kind of push, retest, resumption, get long on a swing, see how long that trade will go on for. Hopefully we get to new highs, but again, the market will have to prove that to me. For Bitcoin, I'm far more confident. Bitcoin looks an awful lot to me like it is staging a half cycle low inversion out of here and confirming that weekly cycle low is in. I think this thing's going to pop this week. I really do. I don't think it matters whether it does or not. I should say that. I think if it pulls back, it's simply a buy the dip opportunity before it rips to new highs. And if it does not pull back and it continues to do this, then of course the focus becomes on selling the top, dumping all of the spot, and that will include all the crypto-related equities. If you're a level 3 member, we're going to continue to add crypto-related equities to capture the extra beta on the way up, so look out for that. And the only other thing I wanted to point out is gold looks to me like it has indeed topped in a textbook fourth daily cycle with left translation. So we went 1 right trans, 2 right trans, 3 right trans out of this weekly cycle. The fourth is therefore expected to left translate and fail. It looks a lot to me like that's what's going on. Okay, now it could of course rip to new highs and then we see left translation in cycle 5 and then that would be the weekly cycle in here. That's entirely possible. But as it stands right now, this is the textbook expectation for a weekly cycle. 3 rights and a left if it's bullish, or 1 right and 3 lefts if it's bearish. So far to me, this looks exactly like we'd expect it to look. So I say the smart bet is not to bet against the textbook example. The smart bet is to simply say, this makes the most sense and therefore it's the most probabilistic outcome. What I am hoping for, and I was talking to the members about this on the weekend, is that we get a nice sharp flush. If we get a nice sharp flush to the downside, that will be enough resetting to actually stand a very good chance at seeing new highs come out of that weekly cycle. But if what we do here is end up kind of chopping around in a range and we don't get much of a decline, then we may well have to waste the entire weekly cycle consolidating before the next move higher. Now, I'm happy with either because I still think all dips are for buying in this gold bull market. I still think we're relatively early in the 8-year cycle. In fact, we're not even halfway through it yet, so happy days. I will also say this, if what we get is that flush, expect the miners to puke as well, and also expect me to be adding more miners in the level 3 member section. But if it kind of chops around in here and does something like this and does not get a very steep decline into that weekly cycle low, I think we could actually see the miners and silver rotate. I think we could actually see them outperform gold during this sideways chop. So super, super interesting times. After what's been quite a slow Q1 for me this year in the trading account, I am very, very, very optimistic now that we're going to be able to get back to our usual overperformance here, get hold of some of these crypto stocks. We've already started adding them. I know MicroStrategy starting to push up here, so happy days there. And ultimately, we'll just see what happens, right? We'll take this thing one day at a time. Although it's exciting and it's fun and we love what we do, that does not mean we're going to start getting FOMO and acting and trading on emotion, okay? It's fine to be emotional. It is not fine to trade with emotion. So as always, keep that risk managed, take things one day at a time, don't be trading on emotions, and consider hitting that subscribe button if you found value. Other than that, God bless. See you tomorrow. Cheers. Bye.
Camel Finance, he's the man to see. Rocking the markets with his contrarian spree. Trades like a pro, no fear, no shame. Sticking to his guns in his money game. He's a bad